So sorry for the interruption. Due to the phone call for the admission, I have to stop here for a minute or two. We'll continue with the same problem. So here we are actually finding out the length and the width of the slab. Okay. So first of all, we'll just find out the length of the slab. How much it will be the length of the slab? So it is right from the right corner, left corner. We'll just start. It will be 0.3 meter. Okay. So here it is 0.3 meter plus the length of the first room is 4 meter plus again the central wall, the width of the central wall is again 3 meter. Here it is the 3 meter. After that the length of the second room is 0.3 meter, and after that the right side wall is of 0.3 meter again, so we'll add it as 0.3 meter overall. So if we just go through it, the total length of the slab will be 0.3 plus 4, that is 4.3 plus 0.3 is 4.6 plus 3, it will be 7.6, and plus 0.3, it will be 7.9 meter respectively. 7.9 meter. Okay. In this manner, we have to calculate the length and the width of the item. First of all, now we have calculated the length. I will just calculate the width of the slab. Now here, I will just calculate the width. So here will be the width. Width equal to, now just consider the slab thickness. Now we'll go vertically. What it will be 0.3 meter, the first thing. Secondly, plus, okay, the 6 meter is nothing but that width of the room, it is 6 meter, plus again the width of the wall, it is 0.3 meter. Okay, so the total will be 0.3 plus 6 plus 0.3, it will be 6.9 meter respectively. How much it will be? 6.9 meter respectively. Now again, I will just make the necessary modifications here so that you will be easily understand all these things. Now first of all, we have calculated for the total. So we will consider 1 as a number. Secondly, we have calculated the length, which is 7.9 meter. Here see, this is the calculation of the length of the slab. Okay, so it is how much? 7.9 meter. After that, we ourselves have calculated the width, that is 6.6 meter. Okay, so the width will be 6.6 meter. So I have already written here the 6.6 meter as the width. After that, the next thing is the thickness or the height. How much it is? 0.12 meter, that is 12 centimeter thick. How much it is? It is 12 centimeter thick. Okay, so for that purpose, now it's okay, no problem. We'll be able to see all these things. What happens when I prepare the presentations or the slides? It actually looks greater, but while solving the problems, I try to make the things as simple as possible For that purpose, these things happen. And it's better for me also, because while doing these corrections, you will be able to understand, or you are getting some time to actually calculate the quantities with me. Okay, so it is a good thing also that we are having some extra time, so that it becomes very easy for you to understand these things. Okay, okay, now I'm happy. In the same way, I'll just press a backspace here also, so that it is easily understandable. Okay, so the number of total slabs are 1, no doubt. So the length, which you have already calculated here as 7.9 meter, I have taken it here as 7.9 meter, no doubt, it's also okay. Secondly, the width of the slab is 6.6 meter, and the thickness of the slab is again 0.12 meter. So to get the quantity of slab, what you have to do is, you have to just multiply these all variables. So which are these variables? 1 is the total number of slab, 1 multiplied by the length of the slab is 7.9 meter, whereas the width of the slab is 6.6 meter, and the thickness of the slab is 0.12 meter. So that is 6.256 cubic meter. We have already seen here, I have already written it as 6.256 cubic meter. After that, what we are going to do is, we have to find the quantity of lintels over doors, windows, and next is the beam. Just put backspace. Just I will write here windows. Okay, now what about these lintels? There are 3 number of doors we have already seen. After that, we have already calculated the lintel. The length of the lintel was found to be 1.2, because the length is 1 meter and 0.1 meter end bearing on both sides. So 1 meter plus 0.1 plus 0.1 will be 1.2 meter. So which are already written here as 1.2. The width is 0.3 meter and the thickness is 0.1 meter. Here we have shown it. Okay, just multiply these four variables. 3 into 1.2 into 0.3 into 0.1 into 0.108. So the answer will be 0.108. Same as far as the total number of windows are considered. So the total number of windows are 3. Again, the length of the window was actually found to be 1.5 meter. We have to add 0.1 meter bearing on the both sides. So 1.5 meter plus 0.1 meter plus 0.1 meter will be 1.7 meter. So the length will be 1.7 meter. The width will be again 0.3 and the thickness is again 0.1 meter. So when we add 3 into 1.7 into 0.3 into 0.1, we are going to get the quantity of total lintels above the windows. It is nothing but 0.153 cubic meter. How much it is? 0.153 cubic meter. After this, they have considered the beam also. What they have done is, they have considered beam also. So what they have done is they have just added the total center line. Okay. So how to add the total center line? Twice the length of the long wall and thrice the length of the short wall will give us the total center line length. Okay. So here the length will be equal to twice the center to center distance of long wall center to center distance of long wall plus thrice, because there are two long walls and three short walls. Okay, plus 3 center to center distance of short wall. Okay, so in this manner you have to calculate it. Okay, so that it will be equal to how much? Here I'll write the answer. Into the center to center distance of long wall is 7.6 meter, whereas plus 3 into center to center distance of long wall is short wall, sorry, it is 6.3 meter. Seven 6.3. Okay, so how much it will be? It will be equals to, just find out it. 2 into 7.6. 2 into 7.6, it is 15.2 plus 3 into 6.3. 3 into 6.3, it is 19.8. And that will be equal to 15.2 plus 19.8 will be equals to 35 running meter. 15.2 plus 19.8 equals to 35 running meter. So here the length will be 35 running meter. Okay, so the 35 running meter will be the total length of the beam. After that, what we are going to do is just take total beam will be 1, the length will be 35 meter, the width is no doubt again 0.3 and the height is 0.3 again. So how much will be the total quantity of beam? So the total quantity of beam will be 1 into 35 into 0.3 into 0.3. That is 3.15 cubic meters. Here again I will test 1 into 35 into 0.3 into 0.3, that is 3.15 cubic meter. 3.15, sorry, 3.15 cubic meter. So the total quantity will be equal to, just go on adding these four quantities. Okay, so the quantities will be 6 point, first of all the roof slab, it is how much, 6.256. After that the lintel over the door, it is 0.108. Lintel over the window, it is 0.153. 0.153. After that, the beam quantity is 3.15 plus 3.15. That is 9.667 cubic meter. So the total will be how much? It is also very easy. 9.667 cubic meter. Okay. Now we have considered it in the cubic meter. We'll just try to convert it into brass. So 9.667 cubic meter divided by 2.83. 9 divided by 9.667 divided by 2.83 will be 3.38 brass. 3.38 brass. In this manner, what you have to do, you have to just go on calculating the quantity of RCC items. Now we'll go for the plastering. 4 walls, then inside room 1, outside room 1, same as room 1 and room 2. In this manner, you have to just go on calculating these items point wise. Okay, now we'll continue with the plastering. It is also too much easier. You have to just go on by calculating the things room wise. Okay, so we'll start with the calculation of quantity of room 1, room 2, then the external plastering and so on. So how to actually calculate these things? So see here, for the room 1, the size of the room 1 is 4 meter by 6 meter. How much it is? 4 meter by 6 meter. So how to calculate the actual length? Just go on adding the internal perimeter. What we have to do is just go on adding the internal perimeter. So how much it will be? 4 meter plus 6 meter plus 4 meter plus 6 meter. So instead of writing this twice, what we are going to do is we have to write here 2, here see, 2 into bracket 4 plus 6. In this manner, very easily we can just find out the length of that item. So 2 into bracket 4 is the length of the first room and 6 is the width of the first room. So 4 plus 6, 10. 10 into 2 will be the 20. Here we have written it as 20. Now what about the room 2? For the room 2, I will just again show length will be equal to twice into bracket. Our length is, I think, 3 meter plus the width is again 6 meter. Okay. Now how much it will be? Equal to see here. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 into 2, it will be 18 meter. So the length of the total length of the first room will be 20 meter, whereas the total length of the second room will be 18 meter respectively. Using these lengths, you have to just go on calculating the clustering. So the inside room 1, that is room 1, the total number of room will be 1. The length which you have calculated here is 20 meter. Just put here 20. The width for clustering is dash. Okay. We do not provide. We actually provide the thickness of 0.15 to 0.25. Sorry, 15 mm to 25 mm. But we actually do not mention here this because it is very negligible as far as metric scale is concerned. So while writing the plastering, we may just write here as 25 mm thick and so on in the description, so that the laborer may understand the actual thickness of plastering which they have to provide. In this manner, we have to just find the thickness, okay, the plastering. So just go on calculating it. So 1 into 20 into 3, so it will be nothing but the 60 square meter. The quantity of the plastering here we have to calculate in square meter. Why it is so? Because here we are multiplying only two things, the length and the height. Okay, the length and the height of each room is no doubt 3 meter respectively. So 20 into 3 will be 60. In the same way, what about this room 2? It is again one number. 18 is nothing but we have calculated the length of the second room. It is 80 meter, 18 meter. You have just written here 18. The width will be again dash and the height will be no doubt 3 meter. 18 into 3, it will be 54 square meter and so on. 18 into 3, it will be 54 square meter. Now second thing, this we have completed the internal plastering. What we have done here is we have taken the internal plastering. Okay. Now see here, what about the external plastering? Here they have written it as outside, but instead of that we will write it as external plastering. External external plastering. So how to calculate the length? Here what we have to do is instead of taking the internal total dimensions of the room. Here we have to take the total perimeter of that whole plan. Okay, so the total perimeter will be, we already calculated while calculation of slab, that is 7.9 meter is the length and 6.6 meter is the width. But what happens while going for the plastering, we have to actually plaster 7.9 meter twice and 6.6 meter twice. Okay, for that purpose here 2 into bracket 7.9 plus 6.6, so the total will be 29 meter respectively. So the total will be 29 meter respectively. So I'll write it here as meter. So again the number will be 1. The length we have calculated as 29 meter. Okay, after that the height we have taken it as 3 meter respectively. 29 into 3 is nothing but 87 square meter. Remember this thing, we always write it in cubic meter. So our tendency is again to write it in cubic meter, but actually when we find these things we should be able to know that now. What about the parapet walls? The parapet walls here 1 into 2. Why we are taken as 1 into 2? Two sides of long wall and two sides of short wall, and they are on both the sides. For this purpose we have taken it as 2. Okay, what I will do here, I will just skip this parapet wall from this problem. Okay, just forget this about the parapet walls. While actually solving the same problems on the board, we'll try to find it. Now you may get confused. So to avoid these things, what I am doing is I am just trying to make the things easier for you. Okay. Because this problem is in detail, as far as it is type where actually we have to complete the project. I've taken that problem for the practice, but here what we are going to do is we'll go for the simpler things initially and then we'll go for the continuation. Okay, so don't worry about this. Now just try to just find out the calculations of the plastering of the first floor. Now remember this thing, what the thing which is important is you have to calculate the quantities floor wise, and these parapet walls come under the different category. So that's why I am just deducted these things. Okay. Oh, very good. Now we'll continuously find out the total. How much will be the total? The total plastering. We'll write it here. So the plastering of the room 1, the plus the plastering of the room 2, plus the external plastering will be the total. So it is 60 plus 54 plus 87. It is 201 square meter. How much it is? It is 201 square meter. We'll write it here. Okay. So here the answer will be 201 square meter. In this manner, first of all, you have to find the plastering of the room 1 and the room 2 and the plastering, external plastering you may say. After this, if you observe the windows as well as the doors, you will see that there is a problem. What is the problem here? If we just go through it, we never plaster the doors and windows. Then why we have to play it for the labors? Instead of that, what we have to do is we have to just deduct these things. So the deduction for doors and windows will be there. So for the first it will be for the doors and secondly it will be for the windows. Now, if we just go for the calculation of deductions, the formula which they have used, we'll convert it to our diploma syllabus or diploma curriculum formula, and accordingly, we'll actually find out actual quantities. Okay, so how much it will be? See here. Now for the deduction, our size of the door is 1 into 2.1 and the size of the window is 1.5 into 2.1. Okay, so how many doors are there? There are 3 number of doors. The length is 1 meter and the height is 2.1 meter. So what if we just go through the calculations? 3 into 1 into 2.1. It is 6.3 square meter. Here I will write it as 6.3 square meter. And for the windows, there are again 3 number of windows having length 1.5 into 1.2. So 1.5 into 1.2 into 3. 1.5 into 1.2 into 1.5 multiplied by 1.2 into 3 numbers, that is 5.4. 5.4. Okay. Now see here, why we have deducted 3 and 3? We are considering the total plastering for external as well as internal. So and the deduction, what our deduction says that if the size of the opening is in between 0.5 square meter to 3 meter. So if we see here 1 into 2.1 will be 2.1 square meter, whereas 1.5 into 1.2 will be 1.8 square meter. So these lie between 0.5 to 3 square meter. So one side deduction is allowed. What they have given us? One side deduction. That means from one face, either from external or from internal, or we may deduct the half from the internal and half from the external. So in this manner, we are just going to deduct one time. So 3 number of doors and 3 number of windows, you have taken it here. So 5.4. So the total deduction will be 6.3 plus 5.4. So the total deduction will be 6.3 plus 5.4. It will be 11.7 square meter. How much it will be? 11.7 square meter. Now what we have to do is we have to deduct okay, so the total will be how much? The total will be, our total plastering is 2.1 square meter. From that, the total deduction is 11.7 square meter. 11.7. So the net actual plastering will be equal to here 201 minus 11.7. 201 minus 11.7, that will be 189.3 square meter. 189.3 square meter. In this manner, we are actually going to calculate the quantity of plastering. Okay. We'll stop here. After this, in the next lecture, we are going to actually calculate the quantity of flooring and so on.